Hello, I'm Emily McDonald, and I've been a cataloger at Lawrence Public Library in Lawrence, Kansas for 5 years. In that time, my cataloging team has really embraced radical cataloging and have made a lot of changes to promote and celebrate diversity and be more inclusive in our catalog and on our shelves. One of the first changes we made was to be more inclusive with the holidays in our celebration picture book collection. These books were already discoverable in the catalog with subject headings, but we were using stickers to help patrons find books while browsing the collection. We were already using popular Christian holiday and a generic Jewish holiday sticker, but we didn't have anything celebrating Muslim or Hindu holidays, and that needed to change. While there are some stickers available through various library vendors, it's a very limited selection. So I ended up making all of the stickers we needed in-house. I primarily use Creative Commons and our subscription to Adobe Stock to grab images and put them together in Microsoft Publisher to make these labels, and then we had them printed locally. This was a really easy way to be more inclusive on the shelf without having to dive into and update catalog records. The information is already in the record, which we use to inform how we spell the holidays on the labels. But it could be as simple as having a shelf for Muslim holiday picture books and Christmas picture books. There are a lot of ways to do this that don't require nitty-gritty label making. Subject headings are another way you can be more inclusive in your catalog. We use Library of Congress subject headings, but not always. My former colleague Kate Ray and I were fortunate to watch the documentary Change the Subject. If you're unfamiliar with the documentary, it is about the use of illegal aliens as a subject heading and the fight to change it with the Library of Congress. We knew immediately after watching the documentary and talking with Tina Gross, a librarian who helped make the proposal to change the subject heading, that LPL needed to change our subject heading. It was clear that patrons don't know where these subject headings come from and think that librarians at their library are choosing these phrases, and it can cause patrons to feel excluded and unwelcome in their library. At first, we just added this local subject heading, undocumented immigrants, which is the preferred term, as an additional heading. But later, we completely replaced the offensive heading so that it would not appear anywhere in our catalog. And then I created a local authority record, which I created to preserve the cross references and allow the local subject headings to be validated in our ILS. So even if someone types in the offensive term, they will be directed to the correct records that use undocumented immigrants. We also ask ourselves, what are other offensive or outdated terms that Library of Congress is using? We know that they are slow to update or they can get tied up in Congress, so we decided to forge ahead of them. And you can see here our growing list of local subject headings that we use to replace or use with current Library of Congress subject headings. Most of these just come up organically as we're cataloging and we discuss why or why not we want to use the local subject heading. Why did this heading make me feel icky? What can we do about it? This was a pretty easy project to work on, especially if you're able to do batch update. Um, but copy and paste exists too. For example, when I updated undocumented immigrants, it was about 100 records total. So it is a task if you're not able to batch edit records, but it can go really quickly if you don't. And I also discovered with headings like aliens, Most of our records were using that subject heading incorrectly. Instead of aliens, it was supposed to be using extraterrestrial beings. So look out for that in your catalog. I tried to update what I could in OCLC. And I will say the local subject headings are harder to keep on top of. Sometimes we forget to replace the preferred heading, or we forget to add the additional heading we want to use. So I just periodically have to check and make sure that our records are in good shape. And then there's Dewey. LPL is a Dewey library, and sometimes Dewey is a little problematic, specifically in the 200s, also known as the religion schedule. Luckily, in 2019, the editors at Dewey created and published an optional arrangement for 220 through 299, and this is available on WebDewey if you use that. It is published with the Dewey schedules. We wanted to use this arrangement because of its equitable treatment of religions rather than giving the bulk of the schedule to Christianity. So 220 through 289 is all Christianity, and all of the other religions are in 290 to 299. This arrangement is also more reflective of the religious diversity in the community our library serves. It was a big change that took a few months of planning and a week dedicated to updating the catalog and items. At the end of our week, we updated about 2,500 items. I get asked a lot from other libraries about patron feedback. Well, we simply haven't had any. Our information services coordinator, Melissa Fisher Isaacs, put it best. I think the average person is so mystified by what the numbers mean that they don't think too much more deeply than just locating the book they are looking for. That doesn't mean, though, that the numbers don't have meaning and that they don't enshrine certain values and ways of thinking. So, even if most people don't notice, I still think it's important to have done. Even while we were updating our 200s, we added a local call number for our one book on Satanism, which isn't represented in the optional arrangement, and it is a recognized religion. So Dewey isn't perfect, and it never will be, but it is possible to take Dewey and make it fit your library needs like we did. I encourage you to think about who you're excluding from your catalog and what you can do about it. Everyone deserves to see themselves reflected in your catalog and on the shelf. And these are just a few of the ways LPL is trying to do that. And please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm happy to share more detailed information on our projects that we're working on, or even some of our holiday labels if you're interested. So don't hesitate to email me at emcdonald@lplchaos.org. Thank you for learning about what you can do to make your catalog more inclusive and diverse.